Today's video is about presets in GrandMA3, because GrandMA3, when you are creating your presets, give you all kinds of hints to what is inside your preset, and they do that with small icons. We all seen the selective and global and universal icons for your presets, but there's loads of others which we are also going to go through in this video. So let's just get right into it. As you can see over here, I created a small show, and the first thing we're going to go through is the difference between selective, global and universal information in GrandMA3. If you are new to GrandMA3, this might be a little bit confusing, so let me just try to explain how it works. First of all, if we take a group here and we select a preset up here, you can see it is with a small U up here. That means it is universal. You have the small G, which is global, and then you can see down here we have an S, which is selective. So let's try to see what the difference is. If we start with our group here, that is all our fixtures, but maybe we only want to use some of the fixtures. Let's say we take these three here. We turn them on in a position, and we can store that down here in our all preset. As you can see now, it has a small S, and when I double click it, it only contains information for those three. So if I select something else, you can see this preset doesn't work anymore. I can click it as much as I want, but it doesn't do anything because it is selective. It only contains information for the three fixtures I used to create it. So let's do something different. Let's try to create a global preset, and a global preset can contain information that is the same for all fixtures. If we take this guy up here and we turn him on, we can do that, and we can give it a color of green maybe, and then we can store that down here. But to be able to store it as a global preset, we can go into our command section here, we can press and hold the store button, and we can set the preset mode down to global here, and now it is selected as global, and when I press this one, you can see the small G up here. So now this is a global preset, and I only used one fixture to build it. But now if I take my group here and I select my global preset, you can see it works on all the fixtures of that type. So if you have patched a certain type of fixture and you have stored it as global preset, if you at a later point patch more fixtures of the same type, this will work on the new fixtures you patch as well. It will not work on a different type of fixture. Then you would have to build global preset for the different type of fixture as well. That leads us to universal presets. So if we clear this stuff here, like this, if we select this guy here and we turn him on, you can see now it's on. If I store this up here, you can see this is a universal preset, and a universal preset will work on any fixture that has that attribute. That means any fixture in your lighting world will be able to turn on or off. I mean, that's the whole point of a lighting console, right? You can use this with colors, but it might not be a good idea. You can use it with position data, but that's also a bad idea because you don't want the same DMX value in this fixture. You don't want the same position on your fixture. You don't necessarily want the same color mix because there might be a difference between fixtures, how they mix colors to achieve like the same color in reality. So having universal presets is great for some things. You can use it for phasers, you can use it for all kinds of different things. If you look down here, all these are universal. This is the predefined phasers, and you can use them on any fixture. So if I take all my fixtures here, put them into my audience and maybe use the circle here, you can see it will work on any fixture. But it is sending the same DMX value to all of them, and sometimes you don't want that. So you can see up here, these guys are universal. This is the dimmer. Position will always be selective because you'd never want to send the same pan and tilt value to all fixtures. They would point in the same direction. That doesn't make any sense. The same with color. You might use this as universal, but then you might see nuanced differences between two different fixture types, which is not ideal. Then you cannot adjust them individually as a universal preset. You need to have it global or selective to be able to go into each fixture type and do them a little bit different. So that is universal, selective and global information in GrandMA3. Let's move on to the next icon. If we delete these guys here again, we can try to create a new one. If we select all our fixtures, we turn them on, we put them into cyan and maybe a position. We can store this down here. It's going to be selective, that doesn't matter. But now if I select all my fixtures, I put them into this preset we just stored. We can store this into Q1 over here. Like this, we can press go. And now you can see you have this small icon here, which it's an arrow pointing down, and then there's a line underneath it. And that means it is referenced somewhere. That means if you see this small icon here, the preset here is actually used in your programming somewhere. It can be referenced in a queue, it can be referenced in another preset if you are using it somewhere else. This is just an indication that it is used somewhere. If you want to know where it's used, you can say list ref, short for list reference, and you can click it here, and you can see exactly where it's used. If you, for instance, want to delete something, you can go in quickly and check where do I actually use this preset, how much is it going to affect my programming in the future. So that's the small arrow icon, which is simply that it is referenced somewhere. But let's do something different. Let's say we want to create a new preset. Let's just make it kind of the same thing. We turn it on in a position in magenta here. We can store this here, but we can store it as an embedded preset. So if we once again go in and press and hold the store button, we can turn this one on temporarily, and we can store this here like this. And now you can see the difference. You see this one here has an arrow pointing down with a line underneath. This one over here has the arrow pointing down but with a line on top of it. And that is because it is an embedded preset. If I were to use this preset somewhere, I can select my group here. I can select my preset and I can store this up here and create a second queue. Now you can see it is very hard to see actually. Now it has a line on top of it and underneath it because it is an embedded preset. That's the top line, and it is referenced by your programming. That is the bottom line. So that is the small arrow, and that is one of the icons you will see all the time in GrandMA3. The next one is when you are using recipe presets. That is also an icon. So let's say we want to build something here. Let's say we want to build the same thing here. We can go in and we can say edit settings. We can say turn into recipe, and then we can take our selection here, put it into full. We can copy this line here and we can put it into maybe, what do we have, magenta, like this, and we can put it into a position as well, just to create the same kind of look here. As you can see now, we have this small pot up here, and the small pot is simply just an indication. You will see that in all your queues when you are recipe programming. This just means that it is built from recipes. This is the small pot. You can also go in to this one and turn it into a recipe template, and now you will see an open pot. So that is simply the difference between those two icons. If it's built with recipes, you will see a closed pot. If it's a recipe preset, a recipe template, it is an open pot. So that is the small icon with the pot symbol. The next icon is the one you see down here with the small dots, the 3 dots here, which simply means it's a multi-step, that's more than one step preset. And that is usually the same as a phaser. So if we take our group 1 here and we press step and we turn them on, and we press step and we turn them off, you will see they are starting to go on and off and on and off. So this is basically just the start of a phaser. If we store this here, you will see these small icons here, and that is simply because it is just indicating to you that it's a multi-step preset, indicating that it's a phaser. So super simple, super easy to see what everything is, and you can see it down here in our phaser, predefined phasers. They are everywhere, these small icons here, and that is the only thing that means. Let's say we built our phaser, we saw the small 3 dots, and now we want to make it a little bit more interesting. We take our group, we put it into this one, and you can see it's kind of boring. We could go into our MATricks here and we can set it 0 through 360 like this. Now we have a little bit more interesting phaser. We can basically just store this into our predefined phaser here, or the one we just built, and you can see a new icon up here. And this icon up here simply means that there are MATricks embedded into this preset. So you saw it before when it was just turning on and off, and now if I activate it, you can see it automatically starts to phase from 0 to 360. So that is the indicator up here. That means MATricks is used in this preset, creating this look. The next thing we're going to talk about is something called circular reference, and that is two identical presets referencing each other, which is not necessarily something you want to do, but let's just try it anyway. Let's turn this into a recipe just for the fun of it. Let's just give it a color of, I don't know, yellow. And now we created the first one. So let's say we take this one and we turn this into a recipe as well. And we point this to the one we just created, the yellow one. And then we take this one now, edit it, and point it to the other one, so they're like pointing to each other, like this. And now you can see you have this icon, which is like a circular reference. These two are just pointing at each other, which is not necessarily something you want to do. But if you do, you will see this small icon and you can play with it and fix it and see if you can make it go away again. And then let's talk about filters, because you can also apply filters into your presets if you are creating an old preset for some reason and you want to filter it down. Not that I know why you would, but you could. So let's try that. We can take all our fixtures here and we can turn them on, we can put them into a position, we can give them a different color, maybe red, and we can store this here somewhere. You can see we stored some different attributes. Now we can actually, if we want to, apply a filter to it. So say I only want this to be color, for instance. So I can assign my preset filter up here, and you can see this small icon that pops up here, which is just indicating to you that you are using a filter on this one. So if we turn off our sequence up here, we can now select our fixtures and we can put this into this one here, and this doesn't do anything because we only use the color. Even though we have dimmer saved here and we have position and color information in it, we are only using the color. So if we go into our settings here and we turn our filter off, we should be able to apply it now, and you can see now it suddenly works again. And that is because we used a filter in the preset, and when we do, you will see this small icon pop up here. So that is using filters in presets, one of the icons that will pop up. The next thing we're going to talk about is magic presets, because magic presets can make a range of fixtures go between two colors, for instance, or two values of dimmer or whatever you want. So basically we can select our first fixture here and we can put it into red. We can select the next one and put it into blue. So now we basically just have two different fixtures stored into this, and we store it here, and you can see it is selective. It's kind of boring. So if we clear this and we double tap and we turn them on, you can simply see one is red, one is blue. If we clear this again and we go into the settings here and we put it into magic, we can now see a small hat. The selective information is gone. We can see a small hat which indicates that it's a magic presets. And if we now take these fixtures, we can turn them on and we can apply our magic preset. It goes from the first color we selected all the way over to the next color we selected, and that is a magic preset. And magic presets can be up to, I think, 5 different colors, 5 or 10, I don't remember, but you can simply just choose your path between 2 colors if you want to do that with magic presets. They are actually quite cool. You can go into magic presets here and you can apply a wing of 2, for instance. And then if you apply it again, you can see it now goes from the outside and in, and you can flip it on its head, and from the inside and out. That's all up to you. Magic presets are quite valuable, and you can see here the icon for the Magic preset, and you can see because we applied MATricks, the small icon for MATricks as well. The next one is just super simple. I just want to explain to you all these dots down here. You can see you have a white indicator, empty, white, empty, 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 empty. And they simply reference where the information is coming from, which attribute you have been using creating these things here. If you say the first one is dimmer, the next one is position, the next one here is gobo. We didn't use any gobo, so that's why it's not here. The next one is color, and so forth, all the way down to video and shapers and control channels and all this stuff. And if we want to add some information to it, we can select all our fixtures. We can put a gobo in, for instance, and then I think we need to turn our preset filter off here, like this, and we can store this in here and say merge. And now you can see, now it is a red gobo. If I select it now, you can see it applies to all the fixtures because we just stored it in. So that is all these small indicators here is simply just a help for you to quickly see what kind of information is stored into this preset. The next thing is something we can change in all our preset pools individually if we want to. We can use something called direct action or object action here. You can see this small icon up here, and that is an indicator for which action is it going to take if you click it. This one is simply just going to self-fix or select it. If you select something different, you can see the icon changes here. If you select add, if you select flash, now I selected flash, and I can say use object action, and now a small plus pops up here. And if that has popped up, I can simply click these ones, and now they work as flash buttons. I can do the same thing if I wanted to. This might be a little bit boring for me. I could apply some MATricks to it. I could say delay from 0 to 1 second, for instance, and I could set the direct action to be go plus. And as soon as I press this one, you can do whatever you want, and that is one of the cool powers of GrandMA3. The last thing I want to show you is just some other color indicators that will pop up in your presets if you are using fade, delay, relative and absolute information. So let's take our group here and let's just put them into full. Put in a gobo, a color, a position, and let's also maybe put in a circle, and let's go down and touch the relative information here and the absolute information, make sure they are active. We can store this here, and you can see these color indicators here. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe if I clear this, you can see this one is red, indicating there's absolute information stored into this preset. Also a slightly red, more pinkish one here, and that is the relative layer. And you can see the colors here. The absolute colors are red, and the relative is this pink color here. The next thing we want to do is maybe we want to make sure that it's a fade and delay time as well. We can select our group here. We can put them on at full in magenta. We can say we want to fade it at maybe 1 second on one parameter here. We want to delay it at another 0 through 1 maybe, and we store this into our preset here, and you can see now it contains, if I clear this so you can see properly, it contains absolute, no relative information. It contains a fade and it contains some sort of delay here. Just an indicator for you that there's something in here you might need to consider. Just GrandMA3 helping you quickly see what is in these presets. So that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made you a little bit wiser on all these icons and all this stuff in GrandMA3. If you liked the video, please give it a like and maybe even consider subscribing to Event Lighting. It is hugely beneficial for my channel if you are liking the videos. It means that YouTube will spread it out to more people and growing my small little channel here. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye bye.